Morning, everyone. I'm Polly. That's Paddy.
Hello.
Andy, welcome.
Good morning.
Last time we ran this session was 8 months ago. I wasn't even here. And Penny, Danielle's daughter, was only 3 months old. Now she's one. So it's time for us to revisit this session. Yeah. So today's topic on the webinar is why Streamtime is designed for humans, not robots. So today we will talk about our human Streamtime approach to project management. And as you know, Streamtime is been designed by humans, for humans. We've been doing research with humans and testing with humans. So today we want to shed the light with you on our values, what we believe in Streamtime, and dig deeper into why Streamtime exists instead of how. And Andy here is our VIP guest once again, and it's great to have him. Double VIP. It's great to have him here, and he will hopefully share some insights and why Streamtime has been designed. Obviously, Andy has been working for the people. For the people is the design agency that created Streamtime, and Andy was the co-founder there. Now he's our managing director. So it would be great to know what actually made for the people to realize what's missing in project management and why Streamtime exists.
Yeah, cool. So the reason it's about humans and robots is because we can't afford the robots yet. So until we can, it's humans. Only joking.
Yeah,
they're very expensive robots, and they can barely, jump over logs and stuff at the moment. So eventually, once they get there. And I think also, like, if you're online right now, I'd love to see who is out there. So jump in, leave a message, say hi on the right-hand side, and let us know where you work and what you do. And then obviously, if you've got any questions at any time, just stick a message in the side panel as well. So it's quite a funny story actually, because the way we started working with Streamtime is that Aaron pitched to us, which is weird because normally as agencies we would pitch to clients all the time. And I remember coming over here, sitting downstairs, and Aaron had a presentation for me, pitching as to why For the People should work with Streamtime. So it's quite a bizarre experience. But I guess at the time, we were a fairly new agency. We'd been quite public about how we'd worked for some of the bigger agencies and the bigger networks, so that the WPPs and the IPGs and any other acronyms you can kind of think of, and that we'd sort of lost love for some of that stuff, and that we wanted to be in charge of our own destiny a little bit more. And one of those things was that we'd quite publicly said we're not going to do timesheets. And you wouldn't believe, when you interview people for a role in an agency, if you tell them that you don't do timesheets, they're basically ready to drop everything and come to you. And it was like one of these realizations that this was a kind of a big thing, and that people hate them so much that they're willing to choose you over anybody else. And so kind of coupled with that insight, when we first met Aaron, and actually the job was go, hey, look, we're building a new product. We probably just need a new website. And we're kind of taking a look at things and going, well, nothing's changing here. It's prettier and it's an update, but we're actually not changing the way that people work, but also more importantly, getting rid of any of the pain points that exist about the current system. So one of the things that we looked at as we went through was understanding this kind of loathing of and kind of soul sucking of timesheets. And I've been in an agency previously where my CFO in New York is hammering me to get this guy to do his timesheets from 3 months ago. And you've got to think about that. How accurate do you think that data is going to be? There's no way he can remember what he did on Monday to something at 10 o'clock. And so, yes, we're pushing to get people to put this data in, but actually it's just not accurate. And then you're going to make decisions about your business and your clients and your jobs as a result of this data. So as we went into agencies and we looked at how different people work, we often found that there were lots of different ways of doing timesheets. So from writing them down and putting them on post-its and then passing them to a studio manager to fill into the system, to having a spreadsheet that then got put into another system, to having to log into systems like BCC and like JobBag and like something like really old kind of systems where it was just not fun.
Well, to provide some more context, that's exactly what Streamtime previously was, right?
Exactly.
So we've been around for 16 years, and that was the world we were coming from. We were a leader in that market, 6 or 7 years earlier to that point, where not many other people were doing what we were doing. This whole idea of like project management software was pretty new, but it hadn't been so developed in terms of what it was. And so there was the traditional timesheet. Well, what did that look like? It was a database. It was based on FileMaker. It was pretty clunky. Wasn't that fun or intuitive to use? And that was kind of what
and time moves on, right? Like, so, and we all know like the Moore's law and the innovation curve, and so we work in these places that are trying to define new things, and we end up using software that feels like it's from the 1980s, right? And so it was okay, we have to try and fix this as a pain point. And so we wanted to try and improve things for people. What we found was, yes, there's all these ways of doing timesheets, but they're also actually using their own to-do systems at the same time, whether that's a to-do list on the side, whether that's an app that they have on their phone. And we said, okay, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe we can pull the two together to save time and also try and tap into this like inherent kind of need and sense of satisfaction that you get when you complete a task. And so people have these to-do lists so that they can tick things off, cross them off, mark them as complete. So there's a sense of progress, a sense of kind of fulfillment that, when you walk out of the office on a day or a week, that you actually got some stuff done this week. And so that's how we got to the to-do screen, which magically logs time as well as helps you complete tasks. And so it was literally the case of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly, and I agree on you with that. People also, yeah, that's why I work here, I guess.
Only other people agree with me.
I have to agree with Andy all the time. It's on camera now. Also, I just wanted to say that this to-do screen makes people more productive. Don't you agree? Well, when you look at your to-do sidebar, at your item that needs to be done, they're all based on the priority. Then the users of Streamtime, all of us who use to-do screen, we take that, we assess the situation, we understand what needs to be done first. We drag those tasks into the days and we plan our weeks ahead, so then we become more productive. When change happens, and change happens all the time in the creative world or in any world really, you can always change it on your to-do screen too. So just minimizing the task or dragging it to another day. So the to-do screen is really everything you need when it comes to planning your week, planning your days, and tracking time at the same time. So I love this screen.
And there's a lot of trust in this as well, which is the other thing. So I might be jumping around our little agenda, but the other thing is that, and this is one we're at for the people, and part of that brief was, hey, design a system that you guys would use. And so we were encouraging all the time, much more. We were a very open and transparent agency, like very open. We share the numbers all the time. Everyone was aware of everything that was going on in the studio. And so the other thing, therefore, is that there's a lot of trust in that. And we hire smart people, so we should give them the freedom to do the work that they need to do. And that included the freedom to plan their weeks out. Yeah. And so right at the beginning of the week, we would literally sit everyone down in the lounge, because we used to be in a terrace house. And so we'd all sit down in there. Well, yeah. And so we all sat down. That's another story. And it was kind of this perfect opportunity for every one of us to go through what we had on that week. And what did we use? We used the to-do screen to be able to do that. And it was a great way of showing that people were on the ball, knew what they needed to do. And we made changes in that meeting so that people could work out when they needed to work on things together as well. Because we didn't have a studio manager or a traffic manager.
So those words, autonomy, trust, and transparency, are three things which I personally have always seen comes directly from For the People into Streamtime, the product, which I think is really cool. And that still kind of pervades in so many different ways. And there are kind of like some knock-on effects of that. Like, what is that trust and autonomy to the team or the creative actually doing? Like, what's happening there? It's improving the relationship, probably. It's allowing that team member to kind of own what they're doing, I suppose, more than being told what to do, and taking control, which is really cool. So it's more of an embrace of a different philosophy as well, rather than just a different way of tracking time. All these things are kind of...
It is quite philosophical in that way. Like, I think if you start out as a creative, you have very lofty ambitions of being able to change the world. And, it's very hard to think that you can change the world or change your part of the world if you're just constantly being told what to do and when. And so ideally, and it's not always the case, and not everyone operates this way, and we certainly cater for that as well, but getting the most out of the product, allowing your team some autonomy, trusting them to do the stuff that you're paying them to do, and then showing them how it pays off. Like, it feels like you're kind of vested in the company as a result.
Yeah. And our human approach is throughout the product, really. So when it comes to planning a job, for example, the way we've designed our job plan is very intuitive. The way you would sit down and write down what needs to be done for a project on a piece of paper. In Streamtime, you can plan out a job, adding those items, stages into a job. And we're giving you this also a lot of flexibility when it comes to creating those items. Your items can be anything you want that your team can track time against. So it can be a stage, it can be a phase, or it can be a to-do.
It's no surprise, maybe, that this screen was basically built off of a spreadsheet that we used to use to plan jobs. And the spreadsheet that I'd used to plan jobs in about 4 different agencies before that as well. So everything from RGA to Interbrand to For the People, we'd use this spreadsheet to estimate hours, people, numbers, stick the timeline in. And, at the end of the day, yes, spreadsheets are bloody good for managing all that stuff. But they're always independent. They don't speak to each other. And so it's like, okay, can we bring that into a system where everything ties together, and you can end up seeing how those numbers affect how well your business is going overall?
Totally. Well, I mean, starting with these items, that's the first thing you're kind of asked to do when you're setting up a new job. But those items, they make up the line items on your quote. They become the task that your team tracks time against, the different things that you're plotting in the schedule, and then what ends up on the invoice and what you're reporting on at the end of the day. So it's all kind of inherently linked and traced back to that one place, and it's really powerful. It's all kind of there, done for you, which is really cool. Going back to that point you made before on having the flexibility to kind of take charge of running things the way you want to work. Maybe let's chat a little bit about priorities for a second and how that's working. Do you want to go through this, Polly?
Yeah, awesome. So Priorities has been released in 2018. I wasn't here. A shame.
We call that the pre-poly days.
Pre-poly days.
BP.
Not as happy.
PPD.
Anyway, so the priorities were designed after 2-day hackathon, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
And what did you guys want to achieve from that hackathon?
You go.
Well, I don't know. I was just going to help you out.
Finish each other's sandwiches. No, we started with the idea of what a Kanban board might look like in Streamtime. We know everyone, well, not everyone, but lots of teams do use Kanban. There are tools out there like Trello and Asana that kind of is designed specifically to do these sorts of things. And we were interested in looking at how Streamtime users are kind of using Kanban boards alongside Streamtime at the moment. What exactly they're interested in using them for? What are they doing that you can't currently do in Streamtime? And so we sat down with a couple of people and we kind of got to the core of what they're doing with those Kanban boards. And then in a matter of 2 days, 48 hours, or less than 48 hours, 16 hours, I suppose, given they were working days, we kind of nutted through what that might look like in Streamtime, how that would work. And as a team, we designed a prototype and essentially set up an entire campaign around it. And that became Priorities, which is now a fully fledged feature, piece of functionality in Streamtime, available to all users, which is really cool.
Exactly.
And that was our entire team that was involved in that process, which is also something we're talking about.
And I mean, I guess yeah, we hire smart people here, and so it's important that everybody gets the
Very smart.
mostly everybody gets the opportunity to to kind of contribute to where we're going. And so priorities was absolutely a big team effort. When it comes to fully fledged, I'd say it's half fledged actually, because we've got big plans for priorities this year. So from my perspective, shouldn't really put a date on these things, I guess, but by September, I would love to see this board actually have morphed completely into kind of, dare I say, kind of Trello on steroids, where actually these cards could be anything. They could be invoices, they could be quotes, they could be a new business opportunity, they could be notes, they could be a checklist. And everyone, not only gets their own board, but actually those boards can be shared with other people. And each of these lists would be able to kind of total up the numbers in them, for example. So I feel like we're actually only at the very beginning of priorities, and it was a great team effort. It's kind of great to see everyone pulling together as well at the same time. But I think we want to build this so that that we're sort of at the moment between this sort of studio management and project management world, and this would have us fully across both. Along with some other plans that we have around collaborations as well. Sorry.
But even now, this screen is awesome. The priorities is amazing. You can do whatever you need from this screen. So whether you want to manage your pipeline, this is a perfect example of my pipeline management. We use in Streamtime, we use priority boards. It's an essential part of our sales process, I guess. And if you're an accountant, for example, you can manage your invoices in here. So I feel like there needs to be an area in Streamtime where you can really focus on what's important to you. And that's why we have these priorities here.
Totally. And just speaking very basically about what's actually happening in priorities, if there's anyone here who hasn't seen this screen or doesn't really spend much time in here, what we've done is we've really just created these different columns. So you can add as many columns as you want. You can call them whatever you want. It's really easy. And what we've got in these columns is just jobs. And we're just organizing jobs in different ways, but we've got full control over how this area is kind of looking and where these jobs are at. Obviously, we can pick up these jobs and move them around to different columns. And what you're saying before, Andy, is what if we could take this to the next level and even make this a bit smarter, to use this maybe as like some kind of smart reporting tool, which would be really interesting and give even more power to you to kind of set things up in a way that is very specific to how you work. And at the moment, we can kind of flip these over and take some quick actions from here. So I think that's what you were just saying, Polly. It's a bit of a control center in terms of, I need to get something out quickly. I need just a quick overview or snapshot in terms of where the studio is at, or I know I can find this here because it's in my priorities list. That's what's happening here. It's really cool.
Awesome.
Where else can we see flexibility in this Streamtime?
Yeah, I wanted to focus on the schedule screen a bit more. So when it comes to planning a job, Paddy, if you don't mind just jumping into a job. Any job.
Sure.
Any job, please.
Let's look at the Barcelona redesign, because that's quite interesting, because they are going to be pretty sad this morning because they lost in the semi-final of the Champions League from 3-0 up.
Oh God, really? Wow.
Yes.
So that's perfect example. So when it comes to planning a job, once you build that plan and you can finalize this plan, jumping into the schedule straight away from the job. So Paddy, let's do it. View the schedule. So it takes you to this job schedule where you only see that job that you're planning for. So in here, you can take more actions. You can add due dates, deadlines for those items that you've created. Once again, more human approach when it comes to planning a job and planning your team's time. Then you can go in and drag your team members into those items and finish your plan by just dragging them in and booking out their time on when you want them to start working on this. You could see that Andy is actually quite busy today. Tomorrow and Friday he's full. So so don't plan anything for Andy. And it tells you straight away that if you plan something for him, Andy will overwork. Maybe he will burn out at the end, and maybe the project won't be as good as you want it to be. So once again, the job schedule tells you how busy your team is. That allows you to make that decision and plan out your team's time in the future.
Totally. Well, now I can kind of see Andy's is overbooked. Maybe a good thing to do would be to jump into the to-do schedule
Reading my
and
mind.
shift around some of what he's got on, because he's 2 hours a day overbooked here.
Maybe
That looks
Andy
like a
needs help.
2-hour task that I might offload to Sarah. Sarah looks like she hasn't got much on, so I'm just going to pick that one up, drop it onto Sarah's to-do screen, and look, Andy's fully booked, but he's no longer in the red, which is good.
That's great.
Great. So the to-do schedule, it shows you everybody's to-do screens in one screen. So you can pick, if you want, you can just fill your team members that you want to see, maybe your designers, or maybe just senior people in the team, such as Paddy and Polly and Andy, you know. And then you can adjust to changes, constant changes that happen.
There's a tiny little hack in here as well that we wrote about recently.
It's in the blog post.
It's in the blog post, yes. It's coming or it's out?
It's out. It's
out.
out there.
Which was in this to-do screen, like being able to see by team member what people have on. And if I just wanted to know what the creative team have on, you'll see that we added Andy Creative and Sarah Creative there. And so we can actually just filter that by creative. Which we didn't even come up with ourselves. I think a customer of ours came up with.
Yeah, a customer of ours kind of was like, oh, couldn't I just do this? They were talking about, they're quite a large customer. I think there's about 50 people in their business and they have lots of different teams. And essentially they wanted to be able to reduce this schedule to look at just one specific team at a time. And the way that they suggested they could do that is absolutely just by adding the name of the team to the end of each team member's name. And
voila.
there you go, voila,
Is
as they say.
Voila.
Oh, voila. Big changes and big improvements coming to the schedule as well. So Ross, it's pretty good like this at the moment as well. We're literally in the middle of a good 6 to 8 weeks worth of work right now to look at improvements on the schedule. Whoa!
What is
What is
that?
going on there?
Oh, awesome.
What's going on here, Polly?
Well, we call it a moment of delight. It is quite a moment of delight, to be honest. We like to reward ourselves and our clients for hard work they're putting in using Streamtime. So this is one of the things that we've built last year, before my time, you know.
PPD. Just say PPD.
PPD. And it's amazing reward. If I receive that every day from Streamtime, I would just want to do more and more of this hard work.
Yeah. I think this goes back to like humans, not robots.
Exactly.
Right? Like it's good. You know, we built that sense of achievement into dragging tasks from to do to done. And then we went a step further and said, look, wouldn't it be great if we really kind of went to town on this stuff? And this is actually just one of a few different moments of delight that exist within the system. And so we'll let you try and find out more of them. But it's important to kind of just have these little, you know, I guess, and that's what we call them, moments of delight. Like there was probably no other better way of saying it than going, look, let's just reward this. So if ever you're feeling a bit down, you could just send us a note and we'll send you one.
Yeah.
We can send you
Easily
one like
done.
that.
Easily done.
That's it.
We think it's important to kind of reward those achievements when they happen, bring a bit of, you know, a touch of fun to the day. And these are triggered when you kind of achieve things through the product. So it does go back to that initial philosophy of rewarding good behavior, carrot over stick, you might say.
Yeah. And robots don't care about these things, whereas humans do.
That's true. Well, speaking of humans, I think what makes us different and stand out from comparing to other tools, no offense, guys, but it's us, you know, us as a team. We are all humans, and our customer success team, our design team, our dev team, everyone worked together on solving your problems. And when it comes to talking to you about Streamtime, we don't just want to sell it to you so you use it and that's it. We want to make sure you're running a better business using Streamtime. We want to solve your problems that you're currently having. So we actually listen to everyone and try and understand what is the process that you currently have and how can we improve it in Streamtime. It wasn't in the notes, but I just thought I should.
No, it leads into this last point, which is that Streamtime's, you know, it's constantly under development. We're constantly improving how it works, and that involves research with real users. It's you guys, and we work across the entire team here, really collaboratively across different departments, I suppose, if you'd call them departments. But they hardly are, because it's very loose and lots of people do lots of different things, which is great because it means we're really cohesive as a team. But we are kind of always working towards pushing the product to new places. And for example, the last release that we just put out is release number 63. And that was a huge piece of work that was spearheaded by our design team to introduce a referral program. And this is a great opportunity for any of you guys here today. If you have a friend who you think might benefit from Streamtime, you can refer them and get some rewards yourself. So essentially, we create incentives. If your referral signs up, you'll get some points, and that means you can claim a reward. And you can easily check out more about the referral program in the side menu here. So down the bottom, refer a friend, click on that, and you can see how easy it is to get going. And when you do share that with a friend, they're going to get a discount when they sign up too. So
what's in it for me?
What's in it for me? What have we got? So essentially, you collect points for the number of team members that sign up on your referral. You can get swag, you can get personal training courses on us, studio inspiration.
Don't do the session we did yesterday.
Oh, it was fine.
Hurting a little bit, honestly. We'll take you out for dinner. We'll shout you breakfast for Monday morning or Friday beers. We'll donate
or
to
Monday breakfast beers.
Or Monday breakfast beers.
Whatever
Yeah.
makes you feel
Whatever
better.
Whatever works for you guys. I'm not here to judge. We'll donate to a charity of your choice, or we'll set up a session where we can workshop with a business consultant. So there are plenty of different things that you can kind of pick from, and all of those options were actually surveyed with our users based on what they really wanted as well. So it's cool to see that stuff coming back through.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we look to wrap things up there?
It's a tiny question.
Yeah, from Kate. Thanks, Kate. Can the schedule be exported and sent to the client? Well, good question, Kate.
It is an excellent question. And whilst it cannot be just yet, that is
Right.
a major part of what we are working on at the moment. So you can't just yet. I would suggest being able to screen grab is probably the best way to get that over at the moment. But we are looking at things in the next coming weeks. So the guys are talking to users at the moment. We're working on user stories that kind of are actually this is included in. So expect to see some changes in this soon.
Thanks, Andy.
Awesome. So I suppose just bringing things to a head, it'd be good to kind of talk about how we are looking to solve real problems that exist in studios that we've been able to identify. Obviously, Andy, who's kind of running the show here, has had all that experience before. He's been on that side. He's started his own agency. He understands how the studios work, and that's really cool because that experience allows us to make decisions about what matters in Streamtime. And rather than just creating a better tool for your team to use, we actually just want to create a better workplace for everyone involved. All those values that we've already talked about, improving trust, autonomy, and transparency, how that kind of feeds in through Streamtime to actually make a difference. And that kind of feeds into our holistic approach when it comes to designing Streamtime.
Awesome. That's perfect.
Couldn't
Finish.
say it better
Well
myself.
done.
That sounds like a wrap.
Wrap it.
Thanks so
Cool.
much, everyone, for attending this morning session. We'll see you all next week. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.